We got ourselves a new patch, a beta branch patch for Mount and Blade 2 Bannerlord beta version 1.1.0. And in this video today, we're going to go through the patch notes. In my typical fashion though, I'm going to upfront all the knowledge in this video by going through kind of like the high level, big standout patch notes so that you don't need to sit through this whole thing if you don't want to. So let's go through those right now. So this patch greatly increases stability and performance. My good buddy Flesson19, who you can find linked in the description and pinned comment, has a great video going over his initial kind of foray into the patch, and he doesn't have the most amazing machine, and he said he was playing it and it was flying like butter. That's not even a term, but I'm sticking with it. Also, we get a much better orders of battle system, which allows us to just simply drag and drop any captains we want onto any locations, and we now have a bodyguard style formation that we can do, so you can just drag a bunch of captains into one unit and actually have that, one formation, and have that formation be a bodyguard formation for yourself, maybe. So if you've got like 7 companions with you, they can all just follow you in one formation now, which is really, really, really cool. They have now added some gang leader style play added to the game, some roguery focused stuff where basically you can take over an actual alley within a city that a gang previously had ownership of. Doing so allows you to get 2% of the prosperity of that city as dinar per day. So I think, and again, my buddy Flesson19, he outlined how many are the restrictions on this, and it's quite awesome. So you can actually have a captain of yours, a companion of yours, maintain that ally that you've overtaken as long as they don't have any positive personality traits like, honesty or anything like that, and they have a high enough roguery skill. So we're getting some really cool roguery play added in. Some new armor, a party screen sorting mechanic, a fog of war that's been added for heroes so that you cannot see what all their skills and everything like that are unless you've actually discovered who they are on the map. The ability to retire a character and allow your heir to take over. And lastly, a new raiding system that should make raiding a lot more both profitable and fun depending upon your approach in the game. Do you want to be a character that's simply raiding the front line, or do you want to be a character that's raiding their way all throughout the enemy's villages to reduce the amount of recruits that the enemy has access to? So a lot more strategic use coming from raiding. But those are some of the down and dirty patch notes there for Bannerblade version 1.1.0. If this is your first beta branch, maybe you picked up the game when it actually fully launched in October, then it's worth noting that the beta branches are backwards compatible with any save you've got, so you don't need to worry about making a brand new campaign. They will tell you up front if that is the case. You might notice that if you do load an existing game on this beta branch, it will be a little funky. Just kind of keep playing through and things should stabilize. By all means, though, if you do download and try a beta branch, I always recommend backing up your saves so that nothing happens to them, so that you don't lose them or anything like that. But that's the kind of overall gist. If you are heading out, please don't forget to like, comment, or subscribe before you close the video down. Also, I do stream on Twitch. You can find that linked in my description and pinned comment as well. Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays. When this video goes live, I'll be streaming the next day with a brand new Bannerlord campaign. So find that on my Twitch, linked in the description and pinned comment. But for those that want to stick around, let's get into the nitty and the gritty of the beta patch version 1.1.0 for Bannerlord. The Bannerlord like 3 times there. So let's go ahead and go down here. As always, we have a bunch of crash fixes. If you're experiencing any game crashes over specific scenarios, please look through this list to see if it applies to you. I have not had a crash in some time that wasn't linked to a mod, so I don't really unfortunately know of any big crashes right now. But for saving and loading, we optimize the save system to reduce the total size of the save file again. They used to get really big in the first kind of foray of the game, and they since have gone down drastically in size, and now they're even smaller, which is lovely. Save file sizes now increase linearly. They used to double over time. So this means that, of course, over time, it will get larger, but it used to double, as it says here. So not as drastic of an increase. So that's quite lovely. And an improvement to save time. So if the game was locking up on you and you really were kind of hating how long it took to save, that has been improved. Some things in art, which includes a lot of stuff, not just simply art related. Sturgia, Vlandia, and Empire Towns siege layers have been improved. And what this means is, if you don't know what this really means, it's referring more to the nav mesh on the actual siege so that anytime the AI tries to move around on those siege maps or anything like that, they move around a little bit more succinctly now, or a little bit better, a lot more efficient because of these siege layer updates. They're quite huge. Anytime you see that stuff, is pretty big. Fix an issue that causes siege tower orientation to be broken in some locations of Empire towns. That's been fixed too. 3 scenes, Sanala, Ataconia Castle, and Meklovia Castle were added to custom battle scenes in case you wanted to do that. Updated arena spectator characters. They are now normal agents instead of meshes, and they have new animations. This is cool. So it's like when you're playing through an arena, it won't look like you're playing NHL 2K7 where the entire audience is just simply a bunch of 2D sprites that are kind of weirdly gyrating in what would be assumed to be cheering. Also improved various materials when it comes to the actual visuals of them. Added a new Empire plate vest armor, which I'll show off later. Added new Khazate heavy armor. Again, guess what? I'm going to show that off later. But moving into audio, we got added missing voiceovers for Aserai, Khazate, and Sturgia. Always love to see more voiceovers added into the game. Hey, Tailworlds, tap me. Tap me to do voice acting for anything in this game. I don't care what it is. I'll do a shit-covered peasant, and you don't need to pay me. I just want the credit for it. I want to be in one of my favorite games. Tap me. Holler back on my tweet me on my hollaback machine, my Vodafone. I don't know what the hell I'm saying. UI changes. Party screen troop sorting has been added. Players can now sort both rosters in the party screen by troop, by troop type, name, count, and tier. The last selected sort type is remembered and applied on every party screen initialization, and by default, heroes are grouped together at the top of the roster. This change also includes a troop type rundown added to the party screen. Players now can see how many infantry, archers, cavalry, and horse archers they have at a glance, which is huge because I always had to kind of jump to the party screen to see this. So I like that is now kind of made a little bit better to kind of see. Implemented a fog of war feature for heroes. So I put this in red, and if you've not seen these videos before, I do anything that is a buff in green, anything that is a nerf in red, and then just cyan for anything that I'm just like, oh, this is worth noting. I put this in red because I think a lot of people probably, if they're trying to min-max or super game their playthrough, then they're going to want to see everything right out the gate on Encyclopedia, so this might change the way you play the game, so just a heads up. Players now need to meet heroes to unlock some of their critical information. Skills, traits, family, and own settlement information are hidden until you meet that hero. This big one right here is skills. We'll do green. Skills, because if I'm trying to find any specific heroes that I want to be, any specific wanderers that I want in my army, I better have a really good idea of what those skills are and who has what. I have a video on the best companions linked in the upper right hand corner. A lot of this information comes from my good friend Strat Gaming. Again, another bro who's going to be linked in the description below. Please check out Strat Gaming. He has tons of great breakdowns for Bannerlord videos with a lot of number driven data. So he's a really, really amazing individual who goes into all the skills and traits of a lot of companion work. But that being said, if you don't know what their kind of affix is, say like, oh, this is blank and blank the hyena or the gold or the scholar, you're not going to have an idea of what skills they have. So this is going to give you the ability to actually see what they've got by just learning what those affixes. Otherwise, this fog of war is going to bar you from seeing that. So that's worth noting. Added new tutorials to help new players. So tutorials for all these things if you're brand new to the game. A lot of people that have commented on my like, hey, beginner's guy, like I wish the game had a better tutorial. This should help you out quite a bit, hopefully. Into battles and sieges, improvements to prevent troops from falling from castle walls due to overcrowding when teleporting during the order of battle phase has been done, or has been improved or changed or made, and whatever I'm trying to say, but that's still a great thing to see. Character development system added a new settlement near Legita named The Retreat, in which the player can approach a new NPC, the Hermit, and decide to retire from their current campaign, either moving on with one of their heirs or concluding their journey completely. And, tacking on to this, added a new window where players can see their progress through their campaign at the end of it, presenting many stats such as their kill count, playtime, number of troops recruited, etc. Players can reach this window when their clan is destroyed, they decide to retire, or when they complete the main storyline. So it's nice that you can kind of have like, oh, you know what, I've done a lot. I'm kind of concluded with this campaign. Let me go to the retreat and kind of conclude it. And I'm going to be honest with you, I've got, oh my God, I think I have over 600 hours now in Bannerlord. I have never completed, quote unquote, a campaign. I have bad alt-itis. But into perk overhaul, all perk descriptors or descriptions have been rewritten to improve clarity. Some perks saw improvements to functionality and some had minor tweaks for balance and clarity. These are the list of perks that are included here: Swift Strike, Forced Labor, Make a Difference, Throwing Competition, Strong Arms, Fleet-Footed. So if you use a lot of these, which I'm pretty sure you do, go and check to see the balance. Perks, or 15 perks saw name changes, and Trade Tree saw bigger changes. Reordered some perks effects to make it so that the early game benefiting perks can be unlocked earlier, which is really, really nice, because a lot of the time with trade, you need to get so deep into it for really to take effect. And if you're trying to play a tall style of playthrough as a trader, that can be really kind of frustrating. Change the primary perk effect of the Silver Tongue perk. Skill description have been rewritten for clarity, and changed how the effect type is shown on the perk description tooltip. So a lot of trade tree changes. That is a tongue twister. So you know what? I forgot to highlight this. Well, at least I talked about it in the beginning, right? So alley mechanics have been redesigned and re-implemented. From now on, players will be able to claim alleys after they clear one. They can do so by assigning a clan member who has suitable traits and roguery skills. Player-owned alleys will provide gold and bandit troops for the player, but also generate some crime rating, which is really cool. Alleys will be attacked by neighboring gang leaders, and players will have to respond to those attacks in order to keep the alley. I'm stoked. That's the playthrough we're going to be doing on Saturday. It's going to be a Sturgian roguery character. The reason I've chosen Sturgia is because Sturgia can come out the gate of character creation with 5 focus points into roguery. No other person can. I don't know if I'd do that, but still, I'm going to be doing that style of character on Saturday or tomorrow. So make sure you are following my Twitch. I will be restreaming it here onto YouTube. So either one, whichever one works best for you guys. I'm not going to force you onto Twitch if you don't want to deal with that dross. Troop selection was added for keep battles, and, which is just really nice, the village raid system has been reworked. So this is the big one. I'm going to read everything right here. So instead of rewarding just through the inventory and recruitment pool of the village, village raids now primarily rely on the amount of health or hearth damage done to the village during the raid. So hearth damage, so every village has a hearth count. It's basically the amount of, it's populous. It's the best way to kind of think of it. Hearth, there's multiple families in a home in the game. So the hearth damage that you do basically dictates how the raid overall goes. Raid rewards come in 3 categories: dinar, which makes a small amount of the part of the loot; various everyday goods; and the main production of the village. So if you go and attack an iron ore village, you'll get dinar, various everyday goods like grain and perhaps livestock, and then primarily iron ore, or iron for that matter. The combined value of the loot is usually higher than, for example, attacking caravans, but the weight can be rather high, especially while raiding villages that produce low value but high volume goods like hardwood and grain. So, recapping that right there. Combined value of the loot is usually higher than, for example, attacking caravans, but the weight can be rather high, meaning you can go and completely pillage a village and get a ton of loot that has a very high volume of goods, but a low value. That's why that's an end portion of this. And attacking a caravan is very profitable on a strictly monetary side. You get a lot of various goods, but maybe not as much trade goods. So it's kind of illustrating here that you're going to get a lot of goods, not as much money. That's why dinar will make a small part of the loot. So recapping that. We wanted to increase the viability of raiding, but if done for commercial gain, we want players to return to towns to sell loot off, hence why it has a higher weight. This way, players can either raid a village, maybe 2, and leave the front lines to make money, or choose to go on a raiding spree for the strategic reason and forego the income. So it's a really kind of cool way, right? Like you go into this, you raid it, it says, hey, take this 5,000 hardwood or 5,000 grain, and you go, no, I'm just destroying their recruitment base. You just leave the wood or grain and you go on, which I think is really cool. Recovery time for villages has also been increased, so it takes longer for them to recover from a raid. Forcing supplies and recruits are now also based on village hearths. After being forced to give supplies to recruits, a village will generate less loot through raiding for a while as villagers are alert. If a raid is completed successfully, it does not give a disorganized state anymore. You only become disorganized when you leave mid-raid. So This is going to be the big thing that we're going to be testing is alleys and village raiding with that Stargian playthrough tomorrow. And it's really going to kind of come down to how does this really kind of make itself be known? Is raiding just as long as it used to be, wherein all this is great, but am I still going to just take forever to do it? So we'll test this out a lot. Usually I would have already tested this by now, but I apologize, guys. I have been slammed to the balls with tons of Darktide stuff. So we will do that tomorrow. Conversations made various improvements to conversations by reviewing and reassigning poses and expressions based on the animation content introduced in recent patches, which is very, very, very good. Makes those conversations feel a little bit more lifelike, a little bit more beautiful. Other, rebalance some shoulder armor pieces and weapons used in single player tournaments. Increase base settlement prisoner limit to 60 from 30, and bonus from each wall level to 30 from 10, meaning that if you have a base settlement with a level 1 wall, your prisoner limit is 90, which is very good. So you can actually have more prisoners in your settlements, the ones that you own or the ones that you are part of the vassal of, and you're depositing what are those guys called? Prisoners too. Several performance improvements were made for both battles and the campaign map, as I've mentioned before. And then for modding, it's just all this cool stuff here. I don't know. I don't read this. I can't read Braille, so I don't know what that means. But there is one hidden patch note, not really hidden. It's just one that Emery forgot to put on. Order of Battle Lord assignments. Players can now assign heroes to formations as regular troops. This allows players to create formations which only have heroes, a bodyguard formation. Assignment system has also changed. Players can now drag and drop lords from formation slots to the hero assignment pool and vice versa. We also added new low tier and high tier filters to the formations. I am stoked as balls as this. So let me show you guys now the new armor, the order of battle system, and I'll give you an idea of how to get started with the alley system. So if you're wondering how I go become a gang leader in an alley and all that action, I'm just going to show you how to do it. So at least you can go ahead and try it out on your own. Maybe you have no idea how to do it. You're brand new to the game. And this is something that a lot of us have known just for all the months, I guess years now of playing early access. So I'll go ahead and show that off right now. Moving into the game, let's show off some of those new armors. I'm using the cheat console to show us off some of this stuff. So the new Khazate armor is the Khan's coat of plates, which looks real sick. Now, I don't know when these other ones have been added in, but it's worth kind of mentioning them. The ornate scale armor, which I don't remember this being added. It might have been well, I know it's new, but it might have come outside of this patch in one of the more minor patches that I did not cover. We also have stuff like the Southern Mail shirt with brass plates. I believe those two are new. I know this one is not as new, but there are plenty of new Aserai armor. So if you are looking to do an Aserai playthrough, you've got this cool armor with the new shoulder pieces that kind of fit really, really well together. I have a headpiece on there. Nope. Oh, yeah, here you go. All that just looks so good. But when it comes to the new bronze breastplate, look at that bad boy. The new Imperial bronze breastplate looks great with the caped leather harness. Kind of adds a nice little flourish to it if you really want. A lot of people would ask me about this in a lot of the thumbnails, but this is the Imperial plumed helmet. It is in the game. I'm not using any mods right now, so if you want a real Imperial looking badass character, this is really the way to get it with the new bronze breastplate here. A lot of body armor, not a lot of leg and arm, but it is a really sick piece of armor you can get added in. For the new orders of battle system, let's go over some of the stuff that's changed. So before, we just simply press this button and selected a commander. Now it's a drag and drop style system where I just simply drag the hero I want and either assign them as the commander of that unit or as a hero troop, which is really sick because now maybe you've got two characters that are just really good swordsmen, and maybe you already have a commander for a set portion of your army, and that's just going to be a character in that formation now. So this is really, really nice, and I really like this. You can select all by pressing this button, deselect all, pressing that button. And we can also just make another formation here. I have a bunch of different things we can do here. Press this button, select all of them, and just assign them all as troop. troops within this formation, which I love. We can also better distinguish this now, give preference to troops at lower tier, give preference to troops at higher tier, give preference to troops with heavy armor, to thrown weapons, to pole arms, or to shields. So we get all these really cool controls over now with the new Orders of Battle system. I can say, hey, this is my cadre, my brotherhood of nothing but bodyguards, and I really like this option because now I can actually play the game where I am maybe maybe I am in control of this unit, and these are all my companions and they're going to be my bodyguards. Or maybe I've just got 2 guys and I want those to be the ones that actually follow me around and act as my bodyguard. So I'm really excited to try this out, and this is something that a lot of people have requested for many months and years and whatnot in the Bannerlord community. Going over the new gang leader type of gameplay, you're going to load into a town that has a gang leader as one of the notables in the upper right hand corner. Hold down Alt. I'm not sure what this is on console, or if this is actually reaching console or when it is. You'll see that little icon right there, the little hood with the little dagger, and red. Red means it is occupied by a rival gang or an opposing gang. White means it is not occupied. But you would go over here and you would start the ability here to basically take this over. You initiate a conflict through the dialogue options. You'll do a little combat where you defeat them, and then you'll have a King of the Hill style moment where you, your companions, and some of your select troops will actually defend this location from waves of thugs and outlaws. And once you win it, you'll assign one of your companions with, I believe it's like either 20 or 40 base roguery plus, and no positive personality traits, such as, again, like honesty, anything like that, and they'll be in charge of this gang. And like I said, you'll get 2% daily of the prosperity of that town in income, but you'll also get some crime rating, and you'll be able to recruit outlaws from this location. So a very fun, cool play style added into Bannerlord. The last thing to talk about is the Matterhorn, or I mean the retreat that was added in to the east of Legita over here. You can see it on the map right here. You go to this location and you'll be able to talk to a hermit and end your current playthrough, then kind of see like a post-game overall stats of what happened in your playthrough of Bannerlord. So hopefully this gives you a good idea of what this patch includes. The ultimate question is, is it worth testing? Should you jump into this? I am always a big proponent of going through the betas and seeing what's coming to the game. They're always very exciting. This one is a very stable one from my good friend Flesson19's initial testing. He said he put around 6, 7, 8 hours into it, and he did not crash once. He did notice some issues with renown gain, and that might be hot fixed here soon. So be mindful of that. You might have some issues getting renown for your clan. Of course, renown is this right up here. So that might be a problem of yours. Just like I said, always make sure you're backing up. It is also worth noting, to get the alleys to appear, I did have to jump onto a new save, but I did talk to Tailworlds and they said it should be backwards compatible. I might have not been doing something right because the save I did use had a bunch of mods initially activated upon it. So I'm going to have to test this with some other saves to see if it does work. But be mindful of it. The alley system might not be active until you make a new save, and I'm not 100% sure. I have not heard of many other people complaining about that. So again, I am not 100% on it. So hopefully this gives you a good idea about version 1.1.0. If you want to see it in the flesh in action, we'll be streaming again tomorrow on Twitch and YouTube. You can find those links in the description and pinned comment. But as always, guys, thank you so much for watching here today. Have a good one and take care.